Illegal Nigerians in South Africa are in tears as mayor destroyed building owned by Nigerians this morning. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more information and updates like this.
Battle between the city and a single foreign property owner.
This evening, we've been busy in Pretoria West with bylaw enforcement. We have our target, the guy called George Asaba, who just goes around building nonsense buildings in our city. I said we are going to target this man. We've disconnected electricity, we've disconnected water. He got reconnected. We are back here. We see that he got help because water is reconnected again. Now he started installing solar. So part of what we're trying to do, Pretoria is starting to be orderly. There's work that has gone into here. We are cleaning, we are trying to remove all the illegal structures so that Pretoria West can be restored. But we won't be able to achieve it if we have people like George Asaba that just goes and do as they please. So we came here this evening because we said we're not gonna get tired. We're gonna keep coming back until this man comes out of the hiding and tell us why he wants to turn our city into a slum. So in case he sees this, we are waiting for George Asaba to come out and tell us why he wants to turn this city into a slum. But we're gonna disconnect again and we'll do it again. We're just taking the illegal immigrants that he uses to work here as his labor. We're booking them in and they must go to Mozambique where they're coming from.
This is not an isolated incident. The same individual has been linked to multiple properties across the city, each flagged for serious violations. A previous building owned by this Nigerian national was already demolished after investigations confirmed that it was constructed without proper authorization, with both water and electricity connections found to be illegal. Those connections were subsequently cut. A second property in Sunnyside, also linked to the same owner, was flagged as unsafe for occupants. That building had non-functional elevators, posing a direct danger to residents. It too had illegal water and electricity connections, and a court application was filed to have it demolished.
Go. So residents of Tshwane, today we're out with the Tshwane Adima team. We are obviously disconnecting where people are not paying us, but we've been paying a lot of attention to those accounts where there's illegal connection. Where we are now, this building belongs to Asaba. You would know the name. We once demolished this building in Pretoria West, but what is concerning is that since 2020, this building removed the meters that belong to the city of Tshwane and replaced those with the private meters, which means they've not been paying all this time. What concerns us is the conditions of the building. There's no way the city has approved this structure. It does not look right. The lifts are not working. The people that are paying here, they're paying directly to his account for the rent as well as utilities. So we have disconnected the services, so he must come and see us at the office. But the next step is to come and bring our building control team so that we can issue notices and obviously lead to us applying to the court to demolish the structure before it kills people. So, but we are continuing. We've disconnected a couple of accounts. So yeah, we are continuing.
Investigators discovered a particularly deliberate method of evasion. The owner had been physically removing electricity and water meters installed by the city of Tshwane, relocating them inside his yard, and pouring concrete over them, concealing their existence and preventing easy disconnection.
Hey, man. Hurry. Hurry.
collected from tenants was reportedly paid directly into his personal bank account, raising serious concerns that taxes were not being declared or paid to the South African Revenue Service, adding a further layer of legal contravention. Every enforcement operation costs money the city could direct towards service delivery for South African residents. The repeat deployment of staff and resources to chase down violations tied to one individual represents a significant and unnecessary drain on municipal capacity. The mayor was personally present during one of those recent enforcement operations, underscoring the seriousness with which the city is treating the matter. The pattern of behavior, illegal construction, theft of water and electricity, endangering tenants, and suspected tax evasion points to a sustained and deliberate disregard for South African law. Given the scale and repetition of these offences, there are growing calls for the individual to be arrested without delay, deported, and for all assets linked to these illegal operations to be seized as reparations to the city and the country. Amid the criticism directed at the offender, credit must be given where it's due. The mayor of Tshwane has demonstrated consistent and hands-on leadership. When she took office, Pretoria was heading in a troubling direction, high-rise buildings deteriorating, infrastructure neglected, and the city at risk of following Johannesburg's decline into urban decay. In less than a full term, she reversed that trajectory. Her administration recently procured 21 new water tankers to service communities that are struggling with reliable water supply, a practical investment in the daily lives of residents. Her willingness to personally show up at enforcement operations, combined with tangible service delivery improvements, makes her one of the standout mayors in South Africa today.
Crisis in the country, and Tshwane has a plan, and that's what MMC Bushelo will go through. We also have a goal to make sure that there is water security. At the moment, we are one of the cities that are abstracting way above the license. We are abstracting 32% above the license. We do have a mid to long term where we do have our own water sources, Rodeplat and Redflay, where we want to optimize and get 100 megaliters of our own water so that we can not only reduce the consumption, but also reduce the reliance from rainwater. But it doesn't end there. Why are we here in Mamelodi? This area is supplied by a reservoir that for 6 years could not give water to the people of Ikageng. It was towards the end of last year that we were able to restore water for the people of Ikageng. What it means is that for 6 years, those communities were provided water through water tankers. Secondly, there is an area which includes Mahube Extension 3, where for 8 years, those communities or those households, even though they had infrastructure in their houses, but they were getting water from water tankers. As of last week, the water has been restored. The issue there was mostly in the network. We did not spend a lot of money on those. We just worked with the network, and the water has been restored in those communities. So us being here, inviting you here today, the city has over 660 kilometers of bulk pipelines, more than 10,000 kilometers of reticulation network, over 80 pump stations, and more than 150 reservoirs and towers. This is a pressure-driven system that requires constant balance between supply, storage, and demand. When that balance is lost, the system does not fail uniformly. High-lying and distant areas lose supply first, and recovery takes time. We know that the story of Soshanguve L, that they always get their water last. Aging infrastructure, declining maintenance, and chronic underinvestment have left key parts of the network unstable. Bulk supply interruptions, contamination, power disruption, and vandalism has further compounded these challenges. The results have been steady, and there's been an increase in outages over the couple of years. There's been prolonged recovery times and growing reliance on emergency interventions, also known as the water tankers. The challenge in Tshwane is not simply water availability, it is system performance. Water must be treated, pumped, stored, distributed across a vast and aging network. When infrastructure fails or reservoirs do not recover, supply becomes intermittent. We want to make the point that the investment on water infrastructure has declined by over 60% over the 5 years. And that is the baseline in which we work with to say where to from here, in order to make sure that the people of Tshwane, where they have infrastructure, they have water in their wasting everyone's time. We did announce on Thursday when we had a media briefing that we are taking a very radical step in terms of how we are budgeting this year. We have reduced contracted services by 4.4%, and that money has been redirected to capital infrastructure. So we took a budget that was around 2.3 billion. We are now sitting at 2.8 billion. The plan is to increase it to 3.5 billion in the next financial year without borrowing. If we borrow, that would be an added, it would be a bonus. But for now, we want to rely on the monies that the people of Tshwane are paying in the city, that we prioritize where that money goes. There's an amount of over 163 million that is going to bulk water provision, 158.9 million on wastewater upgrades, 101 million to pipe replacement, 120 million water conservation, 53.9 million on reservoir upgrades, and of course 1.4 billion rands that is dedicated to repairs and maintenance. We are adding 20 million rand to procure additional water tankers. We do have a target of at least 100 tankers that will be owned by the city. We'll establish a permanent structure so that the colleagues that will be manning this function can be on a permanent structure with security in that regard. But in this financial year, we are putting aside 20 million rand where we're going to procure new trucks. The trucks are to ensure that should there be a need, like we have seen, where the problem is not on the side of the municipality, but on the side of Mahalis or the side of rainwater, that's where we get vulnerable while we are building the storage, that we want to add more trucks on here and want to add more drivers. So I thought it was important that I end up with the amounts so that you know that the plan that has been presented here is not just rhetoric, but is backed up by the budget. Thank you so much.